Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast. Andrea Earhart here, muralist, adventurer, and your host as I interview inspiring artists who are killing it in the art game to show you that it's completely possible to make a great living doing the thing you love to do. We highlight the business side of art to help you reach more customers, increase profits, and ultimately live a life of creative freedom. Enjoy the show. This episode is sponsored by the Mural Master Program inside of the Artist Academy Advanced membership. This program is specifically designed to help you with every step of the mural process, from coming up with an idea to finding a wall to paint it on to pitching your ideas to businesses, and finally, of course, I teach you exactly how to paint large scale. Murals are a lot of fun and a great way to grow your art business. I know, because it has been one of the top ways that I've been able to grow my own art business as quickly as I have. With several years of experience as a muralist, I've dialed down the painting techniques, the proposals, the pitching, the whole bit. And now I've compiled it into one resource for you called the Mural Master Program. This is included inside of the Artist Academy Advanced membership, and I would love to invite you to join us by going to artistacademy.co, that is artistacademy.co, and click the link to see the Mural Master Program and learn more. And that's it, so let's get on with the show. Today, I'm going to go at this a little bit differently. We're going to talk about all of the fears that you have around being an artist or going full-time or showing up on video, posting on social media, or not being good enough. All of the things that a lot of artists just think that they are so special to only have these fears only with them and nobody else has them, and they cannot get over it. There's just no hope for you, right? And these are coming from basically me having conversations with a lot of artists who are just starting out or, in the journey, and they're trying the thing and all their fears are holding them back. And I'm also going to talk about my fears that I've had throughout this journey, and I've had since I was a kid, that I've had to overcome in order to get to the place I'm at, and how it's benefited me, and just all of the things. We're going to bring to life why you shouldn't be an artist. And there's going to be a little bit of humor and sarcasm, and there's just a little bit of dry humor in here, so hold with me. We're going to keep this as lighthearted as possible, but this is what I think when someone comes at me with, well, I'm scared of this, so I'm not doing it. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let me tell you about what the things I've been scared of. So the first thing that I get is I'm not good enough, meaning I don't have the skills yet, or might not be able to, or whatnot, of an artist, and there are all these other artists on Instagram that are doing so well, but I can't do that because they are way ahead of me and their skills are so much better. Let me tell you, yeah, you're right. You should probably never be an artist. That is because you were not born out of the womb with all of these abilities and knowing how to shade, knowing the different tones and hues. Yeah, nobody had to learn that and take thousands and thousands of hours to learn that. You think that because you have not taken the time to do it, that you can't do it, even though all these other artists have spent a lot of hours doing it. You can't. So yeah, you should definitely not be an artist. Yeah, you should just go with that. Okay, let's be real, guys. So say you're self-taught, which being self-taught just means that you spent a lot of hours, figuring it out on your own as opposed to paying someone to teach you, right? Which either way is totally fine. Someone self-taught probably watched some videos on YouTube, which I will argue is not really self-taught. If, someone's teaching you how to do it on YouTube, you're just not paying for it. But, whether you're self-taught or whether you've took the time to go to a class and for someone to teach you, that is still a process that we all have to go through. And sorry, but you're starting at level 1. And my level 1 was a few years ago, like several years ago, and now, several years in the making. I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad. I was so frustrated every day for about 2 years. I remember being frustrated every single day for 2 years because I just couldn't make the brush be an extension of my hand like everybody else around me, like everybody that I was seeing. I was so upset about it. And that's not sarcasm. That is complete. I remember just being so frustrated with not being as good as everybody around me, and then just having to switch my mindset and being, okay, I am here to learn, and so is better than me, but they have had 5, 10, 15 years on me, and so they better be better than me, you know? If I was a little prodigy coming in, that would not go well. So I just, I reframed my brain and said, okay, you are ahead of me. You teach me the things that I need to know, because there is so much you don't know. And I have realized that in the past several years of people just coming up and be like, hey, if you do it like this, that'll help. And I'm like, oh, like just mind exploded. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like there's certain things that you can teach yourself, and there are certain things that need to be told to you, if you know what I mean. I just, and it's hard to explain exactly what, but having so many mentors, working at the Popular Outdoors store for a couple years, they would just come by and like, hey, if you mix red with that'll make your blue look so much better. And I'm like, what? What? And then I do it and I'm like, oh my God, how did they know? Like, it's just crazy things. Anyway, so the whole I'm not good at things, get over yourself. Like, just you will be good one day. So just have some mental peace knowing that. Okay. The next one, and this is one that not a lot of people say, but I can see it on their face, and eventually it'll get brought up in conversation, and it's the basis behind why people don't show up on social media. It's, I'm shy. Yeah, you're shy. You should definitely not try to be an artist, because every artist is super outgoing. We're so talkative. We love to be around people and not in our studio creating all day. Think about it. Like, okay, done with the criticism now. Think about it though. The reason we like to be alone is a really, really, really good thing, because then we can be alone and creating part of the day and it doesn't bother us. It's that we're actually in our element and it all works out so perfectly like that. Imagine if we were, at home and just like craving that attention or craving that social interaction while we're at home painting all day or out painting all day. That would make it a little bit harder. And there are artists out there who have that struggle, and I feel you, but I don't understand that as much. But I do understand being shy. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. Go way back, because if anybody tells me that they are shyer than me, or anybody thinks they are way more shy than I am, I just like laugh in my head, because I know where I started and where I'm at right now is so different from where I started. But my natural being is a very, very shy person. So let's take it back, way back. I remember being a little kid, and I don't know that there's really any reason for this, but even a baby, my mom was like, you didn't like anybody to hold you. You didn't like people. It was like my mom only, and that's it. I was just one of those kids. Even as a toddler, I was like, no, don't touch me. Like, I don't know you. I was not one of those friendly kids. I even remember my mom would take me places to like socialize me, because she had a social life and her friends had kids, and I remember just being her shadow the whole time. That's what she called me. I would not leave her side. Like, we would go places and there would be other kids around and she's like, go play. And I literally remember being so scared to go play with these other kids that were so friendly and so wanting to play with me. And I would just sit by my mom, who was like playing cards with other adults. I would just sit there. I wouldn't move. And my mom was just like, come on. And I would not do it. I was one of those kids. I just didn't like it. I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to, anybody to look at me for too long. That is my natural being. And so I've had to work at it. But what really happened is my mom kind of got fed up with it. She's a very outgoing person, very blunt, says what she thinks. And so she was very confused on me in general. A lot of people even mentioned that. It was like, who is this? Like, this is your daughter? Like, I remember hearing that many, many times. And so she would force me to do things, which is why I'm here on a podcast wanting to force you to do things, if that's probably psychologically why I'm here. Anyway, so she would force me into things. I remember basketball. We would play softball, all these sports. She forced me into them. I would cry. I would stand there. I would not know what to do. I would shake. I'd just be like, no, Mom, please don't make me go. And then I'd be like, wait, fine, I will go to practice, but you have to be there and you have to watch me and I have to see you the whole time. And she'd be like, okay. And I remember just like one of the first days of basketball, I did not like it. And she was like, yeah, you are not very good. But she made me do the entire season. And then I was hooked. I loved it. And so growing up and doing sports, I would just became avid sports lover in high school, middle school, all the things, did all the running things and loved it. And that's really, really what helped get me out of my shyness, because, when you're at a track meet and you're running, everybody's eyes are on you. When you're on a basketball game and you're the point guard and you're dribbling it down, everybody's eyes are on you. So I just got used to it. And so that helped a bit. But I also remember, and just to go a little bit more on this, just to really dig it home for you guys, just show you how shy I am naturally. I remember being in high school, and this is one of the first times it happened, but I gave a speech. We were in public speaking. Hated it, by the way. Absolutely hated it. Like, just because I was in sports does not mean I was cured. Hated being in front of people speaking. And I remember I got hives. I broke out in hives on my neck giving a public speaking or giving a speech in a class. And I remember they made fun of me and all the other students. And so I would plan my outfits around if I had to give a speech that day, I would wear a turtleneck or a giant hoodie or something so that people couldn't see that. Nowadays, it's still a thing. All the time. I don't say all the time, but if I'm too nervous, I will just break out in hives. And so I will wear makeup on my chest and neck if I go and give a speech, even to this day. Like, if I have a speech coming up or I have something where I think I'm going to be really nervous, I'll just go ahead and put some makeup on there. That way nobody can see it, and it just makes me feel a little bit better. It even got to the point of I have passed out before from being so nervous. I don't know what it is, but I remember it's happened a couple times, and to the point where it's on my mind. And I remember being in an interview a couple of years ago, and this really nice reporter was interviewing me for the local college about art and all of that, and he asked me a question that I didn't really know how to answer. I was stumbling over my words, and it made me really nervous, and my ears started to ring, and I was like, oh no, it's happening, because that's what happens when I'm about to pass out. You get a little foggy, and you can't really hear, and I was like, no. So I got it under control. I started eating. Luckily, we had some food right there, and it kind of went away. But that's what happens. I'm just telling you, my body does not respond well to having full attention on me. And nowadays, I will eat quite a bit if I'm about ready to go do something that's really, I think is going to be nerve-wracking for me. I'll eat a lot of sugar because I think that helps it quite a bit. I'm less likely to pass out if I have a lot of calories in me. Anyway, so I'm just saying, just being completely honest, if you are shy, I get it. I completely get it, and I have obsessed over this stuff, and every single time I get an email of someone saying, hey, would you like to come public speak, blah, 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 we'd love to hear your story, whatnot, I get an immediate knot in my stomach thinking, oh gosh, not again. Okay, yes. And I respond, yes, I would love to. But it's a lie. I would not love to. But I do it anyway. And I share all this because if you're scared of getting on video, and if you're scared of live painting or putting yourself out there anyway, do it anyway, because it has gotten easier. I don't I'm not cured yet. And I think I maybe can be cured at some point if I just do it enough. Like, live video isn't as scary to me as it used to be. I'd say it used to be a 9 scary. Now it's a 3. So, and public speaking used to be a 10, and I'd say now it's like an 8. So, like maybe a 7. But I'm thinking, like, if I could get over this, I could be unstoppable, just in life and everything. So I'm gonna say, if you're shy, I totally get it. That was kind of a really long answer, but let's go on to another one. So this is a question and really a statement that I get from students or artists, just talking to them quite a bit. And they're like, if I put my art online, people will steal it. That's why I'm not doing it. And I think that's a little crazy, to be honest. So let's talk around the fear of that. So if someone stole your art online, they would what? Make a print of it? They would sell it? They would put it on merchandise? Yeah? Okay. And then you can fix it by finding it and messaging them and taking it down. Okay. But I will say, you have to create something pretty amazing for someone to want to steal it. And just to, give you a little ego check, it has to be amazing. Like, they're not just going to steal the painting that you created in a couple hours that we're putting online. It has to be really freaking cool. And I've really never had anybody steal my art. I've had people, be inspired by it and then create something very similar, which is copyright, blah, 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 whatever. But I think of it more as like I've inspired them to do it. And, it doesn't actually hurt me. I think imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. Think of it like that. Like, if someone is copying your stuff, if someone is stealing your work, you can always ask them to take it down. Or if it's an artist, a fellow artist in the beginning of their career, just take it as inspiration. That's how we all copied at some point. We've all painted a Disney character. That's copying, that's stealing. We've all taken music and burned it on a CD. That's copying and downright stealing, and we all know it when we do it anyway. And so I would just take a look at yourself and make sure that it's not a double standard in that. We could really go on. We'll probably make a whole episode on copyright and all of that, but I just want to say, if you're afraid someone is going to steal your work online, put maybe a watermark on it. And if it does happen, it's an easy fix. And if you're not sure how to handle it, just send me a DM and I will show you how to walk through it with the least amount of damage and still keeping, a good relationship with whoever has done it. Okay, another one is I'm not going to be able to make enough money. I get a lot of people coming at me saying, I get 2 weeks off vacation, or I get 3 weeks of vacation every year, and that's a lot, and I really like it, and I make $30,000 a year at this job, and I just can't give that up because I'm not going to make that much money as an artist. And I'm like, yeah, same. I never make money either. Yeah. That's money isn't my favorite thing. I am a starving artist. You will be too. That's really what I want to say. Sometimes that's what I'm saying in my head. Maybe I should just start saying that. I'm a little sarcastic, and sometimes sarcastic can be, taken as mean, but really it's just my weird humor and making things something else. Anyway, okay, so yes, you shouldn't quit your job today if you don't even have a website. Don't do that. Don't quit your job if you have nothing. If you haven't put at least 1,000 hours of practice in, I wouldn't recommend it. If you don't have a mentor that can hand you jobs or hire you whenever whenever you're at a slow point or whatever, if you haven't done the steps before, then yeah, you're gonna make no money. You're gonna set yourself up. But coming from an artist who makes a pretty decent amount, make a pretty good living, especially for living in the Midwest, I mean, it is definitely possible, and making money through art is my favorite thing in the world, so I will make more podcast episodes to combat that argument. Another one that I've heard quite a bit is, It's too late for me. I have waited too long. I already have another job, and I've spent 4 years in college and years training with this other job, and that would be time wasted. And it's just too late for me. I'm too old. I'm too, this and that, and it's not my time. And I just want to say that is true. If you are 90, you just maybe making art a hobby would be a good thing, but I don't know if you're gonna make money from it. If you're 90, maybe when you're 80, yeah, like you still have some time left. If you're 70, okay, yeah, let's work at it. Like I think you still have plenty of time. So if you're 30 and 40, there's still time out there to make money doing what you love. And there are so many people out there doing just that. Actually, the perfect person for this is I was just talking to Dionne Woods, she actually has her own podcast. She's the Turquoise Iris. I have mentioned her several times. She's at the Turquoise Iris on Instagram, and she's a perfect example. She had babies and was doing the thing, and I was very creative and had a different job and all of that, and didn't start her artistic journey until she was, oh gosh, I'm really not sure, but maybe like 30-ish, I don't know. And now the woman is a boss and way ahead of so many people who started way earlier than her and just doing amazing. So if you need an example of someone who is doing amazing, go follow her. And I just want to say I follow Gary Vee. Do you know Gary Vaynerchuk? So he's not really in the art scene. He's more of like a marketing, social media kind of person. And he says all the time, he's like, he wasn't even online really that much until in his 30s. He didn't really make business motivational anything until his 30s. And also another one, Wanda Comrie. Wanda Comrie, Comrie. Go find her on Instagram. She is doing amazing as well. She makes like rather smaller paintings of florals, and she started a bit later as well, but is killing it. She's actually been on the podcast. Both Dionne Woods and Wanda have been on the podcast. Just a bit older, but I wouldn't say old. You know what I mean? They're just killing it, and they're doing their thing, and they started way later in life. So, if you're 30s, 40s, 50s, and you're just like, nope, it's too late for me. Yeah, okay. If you're planning on dying in like a couple years, then yeah, it might be too late. Another one is I'm not a very motivated person. So you wake up every day and you just don't want to paint that much, and you're just not very motivated, and you just kind of want to live. I don't know. I like life. I don't really want to work that much. I don't know. I just laugh at that because that is me every day before 10 a.m. I wake up and I am the worst part of me in the morning, so don't talk to me in the morning. I try not to send emails in the morning because I'm just not my happy chipper self. And then when I wake up, and I will turn on some music, turn on a podcast, turn on an audiobook, listen to other people who are doing things, it makes me motivated to do things. So you listen to this podcast, don't you feel, hopefully, a little bit more motivated after listening to this, just knowing that all these other people have all these crazy fears that you probably have had at least one of these, right? If we're all being honest, because I've had almost all of them, except for the whole starting late one, because I started real early. But I think being motivated is a myth. I think there are some people that are really ambitious, but I also think those people have a reason why. And so I would categorize myself as being very ambitious. However, just a few years ago, I was going through the motions. I would do the things, but really sleep and having fun were my main priority. I was making sure that I was either in college or I was working towards something, but I wouldn't really call myself an overly motivated person. I wanted big things. Everybody wants, or not everybody, but a lot of people, you want to live comfortably. A lot of people want to drive a nicer car, not the best car, or live in a nicer house or whatever, but I wouldn't really categorize myself as someone who was really doing the things that was reaching towards the stars. I maybe wanted the things, but I wasn't doing it, if that makes sense. And it's because I didn't have any habits to do so. And I've spoken on this before, so I don't want to say a ton about it. The reason I am so motivated now, it helps because I have a lot of habits in place, and I've been doing it for so long, and I've had so many small wins that those small wins drive me further and further. So I would say set yourself up to get a small win. Any kind of job commission that you could maybe get, or any kind of sale you could make on Instagram, or any project you could complete, any challenge you could complete, like this 100-day challenge. Giving yourself small wins so you see little small victories will lead to bigger ones down the road, and then that's almost the motivation in itself, and then it becomes a habit, and then you just do the things regularly, and then boom, you're a successful artist. And that's kind of how it happened, honestly. Like, I would just, you'd get so excited for this sale, and then you'd just be painting and painting, and you get so excited for that sale, then another one, and they just come more frequently, and that's just kind of how it happens. But it started with me of listening to podcasts. That's a really big one, and I don't really need to tell you to do that right now. But find other people, find books, find all of the things, anything. Actually, if you need a book recommendation of someone who has a really, really good just way of, thinking about life, check out the recent book by Matthew McConaughey called Green Lights. He has a very great way of just looking at life and at the world with learning perspectives, and with just things that are like, okay, I'm going to stick this out and we're going to see what happens, kind of a thing. It's just, he grew up in a very, I say, not great household, I guess, but he just looks on the positive side. And this book is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and it's his voice on the audio book, which is fantastic. Okay, another objection that I get is a lot of people don't want to charge for the service that they're providing. So nobody wants to put a price tag on their painting. You're scared to charge too much, all of that stuff. You're scared of what people might think of you. And like, girl, same. Every year I pay myself a little bit more, and every year it seems even more ridiculous than the last year. However, at the end of the year, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely worth that. So my advice for you is to figure out what your worth is at the level you are. And if you need a pricing guide to go through that, go to artpricingguide.com. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, artpricingguide.com. And then I have a whole walkthrough. We've talked about pricing so many times, and you'll actually get links to the past podcast episodes about pricing and how I'm pricing in this year, 2021, and all the stuff. So I don't want to beat it down and just go over pricing again. But I want to more talk about just like your mentality behind it. And there's definitely a thing to where you can definitely be charging too much and people not buying, and you can definitely be charging too little and people buying too quickly. So it's just kind of finding that weird little balance. But there's definitely nothing wrong with charging low and then going high. So right now, I just finished the 31-day challenge where I charged $95 for a painting, and that's where my customer base was at. That's where people were buying, and then I upped it, and yeah, but I would definitely say that, if you're at that level, and just find out what level you're at, because there will always be someone who is saying, I can't afford that. I was actually painting a window here recently, and this lady came up and she was like, oh my gosh, I follow you on Facebook. And we just got talking. I was like, thanks. And she mentioned how she saw my art auction a few months ago, and she's like, oh, I really wanted to buy something, but everything was just really expensive. But I hope you made a bunch from that. And I'm just thinking in my mind, I'm like, you thought the art auction was too expensive. Things were 25% of the total, and there were things for $30 on there. But I didn't say anything. I just kept a smile. I was like, okay, yeah, well, thanks so much. Okay, have a great day. And so it was weird hearing it from her, and just somebody being so honest. But I don't know, I was just so dumbfounded. But I loved the honesty in it. And a lot of people are not going to be able to buy your art, and that's totally fine. And your friends might think you're crazy for charging that amount. I have a couple friends who I told him my painting was like $2,000 for this giant elephant painting, and he was like, oh my god, like he could barely even think. And then the same person came in, and I was painting one of the clowns, and he's like, hey, you sold a lot of these, right? And I was like, yeah, I've been selling them for $95. And he's like, whoa. And I was like thinking that was a lot. And I was like, yeah. And mind you, this friend makes a really good living and lives in a really big house. And I was just like, what? Like, okay, yeah, you just think his value, or his, value of art is just so low that he thinks that I shouldn't charge very much. But without saying it, he's being so nice about it. A lot of people aren't going to see the value in it, but that's our job. Our job is to get on video, show up every day, be consistent, and show people why your art is so cool. Get really good at what you're doing. That way people just can't say no. They're just like, no, like I need that. That's what you want. You want to get your niche down to the point where people are saying, I need to have that no matter what the price. Okay, artpricingguide.com, you can go find out what your pricing should be at, and it's just a very loose, calculated area. Okay, all right, it's like at night right now, and I need to go eat something, so I'm out. And I really hope that just bringing all of these, fears to life really quick just helps you realize that you're not the only one going through it, and you can get over it. If I can get over hives and about passing out for all the things, you can get over things too. And, if you're feeling too overwhelmed, also just remember that the basis of all of this is painting. So just get to painting and paint, and share. And that's really it. Okay, and I hope you become an artist. I hope I didn't talk you out of becoming an artist, because it is kind of hard. Like, to be honest, it's kind of hard, but it's so fulfilling and so rewarding, and it gets easier. It gets so much easier the more and more you do it. I get a lot of people saying, you do a podcast, you do this, you do that. How do you do it all? And it's because I started with just painting, and then I added prints. And, I was doing commissions already, so I was doing commissions and prints, and then I added the Artist Academy, and then I added a podcast, or I think a podcast came first, but you know what I mean, and then I added a Print of the Month Club, and, all these things, but I added them one by one, and they were a little overwhelming at first, but then you get the hang of it, you do, and at first everything was a little uncomfortable, learning how to do prints. Oh my gosh, just that whole process, but it's profitable, and I love doing it. That's why I'm still doing it. Murals were really hard to learn. Showing up on video, figuring out how to do podcasts, it was all very, very hard in the beginning. But you just add another thing, and then before you know it, you're loving life, and things are a lot easier. Okay, all right, hope you have a great week. I will talk to you later.
This episode is sponsored by the Mural Master Program inside of the Artist Academy Advanced membership. This program is specifically designed to help you with every step of the mural process. From coming up with an idea, to finding a wall to paint it on, to pitching your ideas to businesses, and finally, of course, I teach you exactly how to paint large scale. Murals are a lot of fun and a great way to grow your art business. I know, because it has been one of the top ways that I've been able to grow my own art business as quickly as I have. With several years of experience as a muralist, I've dialed down the painting techniques, the proposals, the pitching, the whole bit. And now I've compiled it into one resource for you called the Mural Master Program. This is included inside of the Artist Academy Advanced membership, and I would love to invite you to join us by going to artistacademy.co, that is artistacademy.co, and click the link
to see the Mural Master Program and learn more. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. If you review our podcast and send a screenshot of that review to me on Instagram, I am Art by Andrea Earhart. I will gladly share your art on my Instagram story with a reach of over 60,000 as a thank you for helping us grow this Artist Academy community. And speaking of community, if you would like to be a part of our absolutely free and very encouraging community on social media, just head over to facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy, and I will see you next week.